my perfectly imperfect fam? It's your girl Courtney back here with another video, and today is Warrior Wednesday, so I had to represent with the hat and the eyes. Had to give you a little red. I'm just playing. But today I am telling y'all my sickle cell story start to finish. So please sit back, relax, because this video might be long. I'm not even gonna lie to you. So let's jump right into it. So you guys, I'm going to try to make this as understandable as possible. So I'm gonna go by the year of certain events that happened. So it all started off in 2004, and I was 5 years old, living in Chicago, and it was the day before Easter, and I went to the mall with my sister, cousin, and auntie. It was completely regular and all of that, but long story short, I ended up having a stroke in the mall. Like, I was walking, and then I just fell, and I could not get back up. Took me home. My mom realized something was wrong, so she just like, you need to rest, go to sleep. That's what I did. Next day on Easter, dressed all pretty and stuff, but I could not walk. So she ended up taking me to the University of Chicago Hospital, and from there, I was in the ER, and they did a whole bunch of tests, and they realized that I had a stroke, and the stroke was caused by moya moya. Moya moya is a blockage in your blood vessels, and my frontal lobe got damaged because of that. My stroke was on my right side. It affected my left side, so I was paralyzed, and I had a little weakness in my left hand as well. 3 days in, they did some tests, and they realized that my memory was completely erased. I knew who everybody was, but I didn't know like the basics that like a 5-year-old should know, like your ABCs, your numbers, your spell your name, all of that. I did not know anymore. I was in that hospital for 3 months. From there, I ended up going to Larabita in Chicago, and I was getting blood transfusions, but as I was getting them, they realized that my spleen was getting bigger because it was holding all the blood and not filtering it out throughout my body. So I ended up getting my spleen removed. So 2004, I had a stroke and I had a surgery. From there, still at Larabita, I was there for 2 months, and I got occupational therapy, physical therapy, and I got my first brace, leg brace. It was from like my calf to my whole foot. A little bulky, little plastic thing. 2005, we end up moving to Michigan, and that is when I met Dr. Sherney from Children's Hospital downtown Detroit. And still getting blood transfusions. But in 2008, I ended up having another stroke. This stroke came out of nowhere because the blood exchange transfusions was supposed to help that purposely. So, ended up having another stroke. When I come home from school, I used to go straight to sleep. My mom came home from work, she woke me up, and it seemed like she was a deer in headlights when she seen my face. My face completely dropped, and she hurried up and got all my siblings, and we're in the car. They're singing songs to me. They're saying ABCs, my numbers, everything possible to make sure I do not revert back to how I was. So again, I was back in the hospital, and this is when they decided that I should get the revascularization surgery. In 2009, I had my first revascularization surgery, and the surgery went well, but the side effects from that was seizures, and they ended up putting me on seizure medication, and I had my first PICC line. A PICC line is like a temporary IV that stays in your arm. So I used to have to get antibiotics 3 times a day. My mom would literally come to my school on her lunch break, hook me up to get my antibiotics in the office, leave. I'll sit there for an hour, and then some staff member for the office will unhook me and send me back to class. It was like that for a while. From that, my mom and we had different schedules. So she really wasn't home when I was home or stuff like that. So sometimes she would literally come home from work finding me on the floor or shaking, and she couldn't do nothing because she was at work. And it was a very tough time. But it got worse. So 2009 was okay. 2010 was garbage because I had my second revascularization surgery. The surgery went well. The healing process did not. I ended up having an infection in my head wound, or whatever you want to call it, in my surgery spot, and it was leaking out yellow stuff. So I had to go back to the hospital, get emergency surgery to get the infection out. But they did not catch it fast enough because the infection got all the way down to my skull. So they ended up taking a piece of my skull out as well. Because I just had a surgery, and on top of that, I had an infection and had to go back to get things out. I was homeschooled. On top of that, I couldn't go outside. I couldn't do nothing, and it was horrible for me. Like, horrible. I'm like a little kid still. I'm in middle school at this point, but I couldn't do anything. I missed a lot of school. Friends didn't understand. But overall, my teachers and stuff, they were very supportive, very supportive. Like, those were probably the best teachers I've ever had in my life. But from 2010, the seizures were still happening, still on seizure medication, still getting antibiotics, and I was in jail, basically. I ended up getting my PICC line, got infected, went to go get a new one, to take that old one out, get a new one. As I was in anesthesia sleep, they hit something in my arm, a nerve or whatever, and woke me up out of anesthesia. I woke up out of anesthesia and I saw my arm stretched out with blue stuff all over it. It's a bunch of people around me. I start panicking. So after all that happened and they finally got me back to sleep, they banned me from having PICC lines. So that was 2010. If you're thinking, is it ever gonna get better for you? It is, because 2011, 12, and 13, I actually was healthy, having perfect little time, didn't miss school as much, was able to actually have a childhood, because when I was younger, I really didn't have one. So that was great. That was like the healthiest point in my life. That got cut short in 2014 when it came to me getting my first Make-A-Wish happen. So I wish to meet Big Sean. Like, I was a super Big Sean fan. Like, he was my husband. I had the big old poster, and the poster was a little shiny because I used to kiss it. Like, I was for real a super fan. Knew all his stuff, knew his songs. Like, I was for real in love. So when I finally got to meet him and they flied us out to DC, it was great. But I was so tired and so like exhausted. I didn't really do much in DC but meet him. I didn't go out and walk around, do anything, because I was just so tired. Didn't know why. Overall, the experience was great. Got back home, and then I was admitted to the hospital because I was in pain. And at the time, the only pain medication I used to take was like Tylenol, Motrin, any strong medication. Never. Pain narcotics did not happen for me growing up because I didn't have pain crisis because of the blood exchange transfusions. It was supposed to help all of that. It didn't. So I think they didn't really put me on heavy medication. I think they gave me like Dilaudid once or twice while I was in there. And I finally got out. I missed a lot of school because of that. And I'm gonna have to tell y'all another story time when it comes down to me and education and all of that, because that's a whole nother story to tell. From that, finally got out the hospital, got all of this done, and in 2014, they made it. I went to go get like a regular blood exchange transfusion, but they absolutely could not poke me. All my veins was not working out for them. They were having the hardest time, and I tell you, I had so many different nurses in that room trying to get me started. It didn't work. They shot me in my wrists, my hands, my feet, my arms, all of that wasn't working. So my doctor came in and he was like, okay, we're gonna give you a temporary PICC line. They end up wanting to poke me and put this temporary PICC line in my groin. In my groin. Yes, I said that. And I refused. I definitely refused to be up while they do that. And my doctor was trying to tell me, oh, but it doesn't take. I'm like, I don't care. I do not care. I don't want to be up while you doing all that down there. Put me to sleep. Knock me out. I don't care what you got to do. But you got to do something, because I ain't about to sit here and I already got poked up and everything. So, put me to sleep. Woke up. And that's when we decided I should get a port. After that whole horrible incident, we decided to get a port. I got my port the same in 2014. And nothing new, of course. It got infected. And it was right here. I tried to put it somewhere that nobody could see it, but that didn't work out because I didn't have enough breast tissue to cover up the port, so I was out here looking like Iron Man. So, from that, they were still giving me my blood transfusions and stuff like that. I was still getting that when it was completely open. And then one day it kind of like popped out and had to get that emergency surgery to get that taken out. In 2015, I got a new port, this baby right here, and 2015 for me, it was difficult because I missed a lot of school from these two things, and it was just hard enough that I already missed a whole bunch of school basically my whole life. 2016, I had the first pain crisis ever. I was with my sister in the Arby's driveway, and it felt like all of a sudden I got hit by a truck. A whole semi truck felt like it hit me dead in my chest, my back. Everything just hurted. You would think I got possessed the way I was moving and stuck in all kind of different positions. She hurried up and got me back home. My mom gave me my I think it was some type of Motrin 500, 800, whatever that is. Gave me that, and it did not work. It did not work. I tried to eat, didn't work. I was in so much pain. She ended up taking me to Beaumont Royal Oak Hospital, and got to the emergency, and I sat there for hours. Sat there in pain for hours. The nurse who finally got my stuff together, the little computer, she disappeared. In the hallway with my mother as I'm crunched over, looking like a demon is about to come out of my body. I ended up having the charge nurse take care of me until I actually got admitted, and that was the first time I ever had morphine. It knocked it out real quick. Like, I went down fast. And I was in the hospital for a while. And during that time, I was like mentally messed up because I never really felt a pain crisis that I can actually understand, because the ones that I was having, I was little and I was a baby, so I didn't really understand what a pain crisis was. I just knew that came with sickle cell, but I never actually felt one until then. And that was my first time having pain medication that was a little bit stronger than what I was used to. It was so bad. Like, I missed so much school. I went into depression. I didn't know what to do with myself, because that's when it really kicked in that my life is not given. That is the end of this video. It is long already, so make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell button to know when I come give you more. Bye.
I know why they hating on me. Got a lot of niggas waiting on me. On God, we can't win enough. You can try, but it ain't enough.